Okay, hello everybody.
And welcome once again to My Skeptical Sister. I'm Meghann, the skeptic one.
And I'm Erin, the believer. Before we get going at all, we need to address bipedal.
Bipedal boppity boo, our last. Okay, so I admittedly am a behavior coach. So when I say I'm in education... Oh, no. And also I taught kindergarten for 7 years. We don't discuss bipedal. We don't discuss words like bipedal in kindergarten. No, I just totally read that word bipedal and thought she is a genius.
And I was intrigued. Bipedal. That sounds amazing.
It does.
We realized it after recording. I mean, we were still sitting here.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like we went through the whole thing thinking it was bipedal, thinking what is that? And then yes,
the two of us were sitting here afterwards being like, wow, that was a really cool story. And bipedal, what could bipedal mean?
Bipedal mean?
And finally, you broke it down. Bipedal. And I was like, bipedal?
Whoops. We all got a good laugh out of it. So yes, bipedal.
So it was walking on two legs.
Walking on two legs. That makes a lot more sense than bipedal, boppity boo.
But I'm going to start saying bipedal. For any reason.
It's really a fun word to say, bipedal.
Bipedal.
It's a nonsense word, as we would call it in kindergarten. Bipedal. Oh my goodness. That was really hilarious. Yeah.
And we learned because Meg decided to become both of our friends. Actually,
that's right.
I did totally stalk her and found her.
You did?
Well, yeah. Well, see, when we started this, I went to different like paranormal Facebook groups that I'm a part of because of course I am. And I said, hey, I've got a new podcast if anybody wants to listen.
Smart.
And
get it out there.
Yes, exactly. Meg was one of the people who was like, oh, I would definitely listen to that. And so when I knew we were recording, I didn't want to be a pest on those sites, but I did want to remind everybody when we had a new episode.
Sure.
So I went back to her post and said, hey, we're going to, that episode comes out on Friday. And then I was like, well, now I'm going to friend her. And she friended me. And then, of course, she sought you out. Whatever.
We'll never know who she asked first, but.
Well, no, I asked her first. We do know that.
Oh, okay.
I asked her first. And then she was like,
in my mind, it will be me first. But anyway, either way, glad to be friends with you, Meg. Yes. If you're still listening. She's like, they read mine, I'm done.
I'm done. They got real clingy.
Yeah, a little bit. I know we haven't really heard much from her since. So.
No, I know. It's okay. It's okay.
It'll be fine.
She'll come back to us.
Fine, yes.
She did correct us. Well, informed us that peepers are like little frogs.
Yes.
Which makes sense.
Duh. Again, like that's almost as dumb as bipedal.
We have like croaking frogs in our like at our parents' house in the backyard in the summer, but I've never heard them called peepers before.
That's true. I haven't really, but I was thinking something along the lines of a reptile. In my mind, but yeah. Once she said, I was like, oh yeah, peepers. Of course, they're little frogs that peep.
Yeah. Oh. So hopefully, you guys think our ignorance is cute.
Yeah, or you're maybe Meg, like Meg. She's like, I mean, I'm gonna pity friend them and then move
I'll correct you, and then goodbye. Later days,
and then I will quietly deface you. That's what our mother calls it when you unfriend someone on Facebook. You
already told them
deface
that once.
Oh, let's cut that part out then. That's silly. I just found it hilarious. But anyway, she would probably deface us silently and hope that we never notice. But we're true stalkers. We'll notice.
We're clingers 101, so we'll find you. No, I'm kidding. We'll leave you alone if you want to be left alone.
That's fine. But
I feel like we are doing pretty good. I like getting to talk to all our friends. I love getting texts from our actual friends who are saying,
oh, that's always so fun. Yeah. Like I like your show. You're doing fun things. That's fun.
And with like comments from the show. So we know they actually
proof. I know. I had a friend that specifically said one thing from it. And I was like, oh, you listened to the whole thing. That's amazing.
I know my friend Preston sent me a text that was like, I was like screaming when you started talking about black-eyed kids because they freak her out so much. And she said,
I still don't know about that. It's just the strangest thing.
She was like, I was afraid to go out of my bedroom for wine and you had to walk all the way across the street.
I watched you the whole way and made sure that no black-eyed children got you, which is such a strange thing. Well, this week's story for me, my friend Jody, which we'll get into, I'm going to read her story here in a little bit, but I thought this was kind of a strange thing. So, spoiler alert, it is about her grandmother, and she had no idea that we're going to be recording this today. And she tagged me earlier in a time hop photo of her granny that popped up today.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, look, I submitted that story a couple weeks ago and look what popped up on my time hop. It's Granny. And I said, even stranger, we're going to do your story tonight. And she's like mind blown. She's like, it's my granny coming through like social media.
I know, it's so cool. So, she tagged me too because, again, we are also friends.
Yes.
But I haven't read the story yet. I'm trying to keep it a secret. But she said, I asked her if we could post that picture. Since that's
did you?
Cool.
Yeah,
and she was like, yeah, that's fine. So
cool.
So we'll put it on Instagram.
Perfect. Yeah, we will. Because, that is neat to see who the person is that we were talking about in the story.
Yeah. And very coincidental. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I did think that was kind of neat. Little spooky vibe there, if you believe. Just a mere coincidence if you're like me. But either way, kind of fun.
Oh, that is cool. My story is also about a relative.
Oh, it's so weird how our stories kind of run parallel.
I know. We have not planned it at all.
Huh. That is interesting.
We should also let you guys know that after this, we're done. We have no more stories. Yeah. So please send us.
We're getting down to the nitty gritty. If you really do like this podcast and you want it to continue, which maybe you're like, I don't, but why are you listening? That's weird. Stop listening if you don't like this podcast. Go find something you do like.
Hopefully that's not the case.
Right. Hopefully it's not the case. If you do, then try to share it with people. So if you don't have a story of your own, if you do, hurry up, write what's taking so long. But if you don't, then pass it along maybe to some other people that you think might have a story for us, because we definitely need some.
I anxiously check my email constantly because I'll see a little notification and I'm like, ooh, and then I look, it's like, don't forget to vote in Georgia. I'm like, I don't even live in Georgia. Why am I getting these emails? Right. And it's my personal email instead of the skeptical account. So I'm like, tag on it. So anyways, those stories can go to myskepticalsister@gmail.com. And we'll bring that up again at the end.
Good job working that in there. So
thank you.
All right. Well, you want to just get right into it?
Sure,
go for it. Do you want to go first? I think I went first last week.
Yeah, you went first last week. Okay. I gotta get this email pulled up. So this comes from one of my best friends, Teresa, who has been talked about on the pod before. She's the one I did the Ouija board with. So she sent this story. It's pretty sweet, but it's got some spooky bits to it. And I knew this story before.
Okay. Well, I haven't, because
you haven't.
I know I am friends with Teresa as well, but only through you. She's definitely your core friend, but I've never heard the story, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Okay. And she's definitely like she sees a medium. I hope she's okay with me telling that. I think she would be. She sees a medium who I've seen like reference from her, and she has told that medium said some pretty interesting and direct things. Yeah. No, some very interesting things that were very cool. I really like this medium. Her name is Gina. I've only ever seen one, so I don't have a lot of reference. Well, no, I've seen two.
Okay, we're getting out into that world.
But
I mean, one medium's like, okay, two. How many more?
Well, one I met at a makeup party and it was free. I didn't have to pay for I didn't have to pay to see her. But she was also very cool.
Actually, that's pretty awesome. I would go to a party that's kind of a fun,
like come
magician or a
do you want to buy this makeup or do you just want to talk to this medium?
I would just want to talk to the medium, but then I might end up accidentally buying makeup.
Yeah. So I started selling that makeup. Thanks.
Oh, there you go.
They were really
coming full circle.
Hook, line, and sinker. But anyways, Teresa is very much, she's always been my spiritual friend, and she's very in tune to all that. And
nice.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. So this is from Teresa. It says, okay, not the world's scariest ghost story, but creepy nonetheless. When my husband and I moved to St. Louis for his grad schooling, we were going to stay at his grandparents' house until we found our own place to live. His grandparents ended up passing before school started, but we ended up still staying at their home under the agreement that we would empty it and fix it up. She's also a very incredibly talented interior designer. I mean,
yes.
Oh my gosh. I love seeing Anything she does.
Maybe she could sponsor us. Or are we sponsoring her? How's that working?
Oh. Teresa, you got any microphones?
Really, I just want you to come in and do a free
free
evaluation of my house. What is that called? Something. Look at my house
consultation.
And tell me. A consultation, not evaluation. Come and tell me how I should make my house look better.
Well, Teresa and I have been best friends since 6th grade, so I just make her do that to me all the time.
Oh, lucky.
I know. See, you might have more friends.
Jody, step up your decorating game.
Maybe you have more friends, but
hey, are you saying yours are more talented? Jody, we'll get to your talents,
Jody is
girl.
my friend. I've seen
get
her
to your
talents.
talents.
Okay, let's see. My husband moved first while I stayed in Louisville until I found a job. I would come up to St. Louis on weekends and we would work on sorting, organizing, and throwing away. There was lots of throwing away. All the old belongings. One Sunday, we tackled the kitchen, opening every cabinet to either donate or trash their contents. When we were done, I drove back to Louisville, and my husband stayed for school the next day. It took him years to tell me the story, which I love. I love that he just sat on it.
That's funny.
He is more on the Meghann side of things.
Okay. All right, Michael.
But after a couple of bourbons one night, he confessed that when he was falling asleep that night, he heard cabinet doors opening and closing. He said it made his skin crawl, but he threw the blanket over his head and went to sleep.
Michael.
That's what they always do.
Why?
I don't know. I don't get it.
Investigate.
Every week this comes
what
up.
If, okay, but here's my thing. When it does, it's a theme. But what if it's not a ghost? Like you're taking a big chance there that you're not getting robbed. You're like, I'm just gonna that old silly old ghost and put the pillow over my head. When really, how about you get up and check it out?
Right. It's very scary.
Although I'm pretty tired these days too. I might be like, oh, I don't even care. Rob me, scare me, whatever. Give it your all. I'm going to bed.
Oh gosh. His mother was a bit of a hoarder, and he said, oh, I'm so sorry. His grandmother, oh my gosh, her mother-in-law, if she ever heard this, would come after. His grandmother, I promise that's what it says, was a bit of a hoarder. And he said he knew she was looking for all the things.
Oh.
Eek. Yeah, busted. They weren't even married at this point, so, getting in trouble before you enter the family.
Oh, right.
From the other side.
But a hoarder ghost, I totally believe in those. I mean, those people...
What?
Not your grandmother, Teresa, but like the truly crazy hoarder people. They're crazy enough. They'll come back and look for that stuff. They're not going to let you throw it away. Just saying. I've watched that show. It's intense.
Yeah, I love that show.
It always makes me feel so good.
That's right. Me too. That's kind of like watching Biggest Loser. I don't really like it once they start losing weight, but at the beginning I feel really good. I'm like, I don't want to do that
pretty
much.
Good. I'm doing okay.
That's how I feel about hoarders. I'm like, oh, my house is messy. And then I watch Hoarders and think,
I'm good. I don't even need to clean
tonight. Never
tonight.
Seen like a cat
rodent
I didn't know
or
I had.
Cat poop underneath something. And I don't even have a cat.
All poop is always
where it
in my
needs
house.
to be. Right. I mean, I can't say always, but it gets to where it needs to be really quick. I mean, I've got 2 kids potty training, so life happens.
You have 2 kids currently potty training?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have 1 kid potty training and the other one she's not potty training, but she's definitely pooped on some stuff she shouldn't be pooping on.
Because she's a tiny baby.
Yeah, because she's a little baby. So
I know that, but
okay.
All the people out there are like, what's happening with that poor
why
child?
Are you questioning me on this? It happens. Babies poop through their diapers. Don't shame her for this.
Okay, fast forward to me making my way to St. Louis. The little 1950s chandelier, I wanted to make sure I said that right after Bipital, above the kitchen table had a flickering light one night. But don't worry, it's going to get creepier.
I'm like, my lights flicker all the time.
Okay, she's ready for you. Don't worry.
Okay.
We bought new bulbs. The flickering stopped. For a couple days, that is. No matter what we did, we could not get the light to stop flickering. It wasn't continuous, just at random times it would start. I know, Meghann, old wiring, sure. But I, the believer, would always say, "Hi, Norma," his late grandmother's name, each time it happened. One day, my mother-in-law's girlfriend came over, and we were sitting at the table. The light flickered, and I told her my theory. She laughed and said, "Oh, I loved Norma so much. Hi, Norma." Flicker, flicker, flicker.
Coincidence.
Shut up.
Coincidence.
You're not even fun. They're not fun.
I know, but that is sweet, though. I mean, the thought of it is very sweet. Again, I love the thought of it. It sounds very sweet, but just science is too strong there. It's just a mere coincidence.
Okay, we got more. We have more about the flicker, so
bring it,
just wait. Skip ahead, just moving back home to Louisville, and we temporarily move into my in-laws' basement. This is more turning into a story about how I am a mooch. Until we find a home. We place our dining room table in the main living area in the basement under a can light. I almost read that wrong.
A can light?
Yeah, like a, I think it's like a light that's got a little covering over it. Like,
oh, she's such a decorator.
I know.
In terms that I'm like, you mean a lamp?
No, it's got like a little cover around it, but it's like a dangling light.
Okay, I got you.
I
would just call that a light, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, but you didn't go to school for this. Okay. Yep, you guessed it. The can light flickered randomly when we would sit at the table. So it's their grandmother's table that they brought from St. Louis. They put it underneath that light. Mm-hmm. And now in a new location with a new light, with new wiring, sorry.
Okay.
It's still flickering. We couldn't believe it. Never flickered before and never flickered after once they moved the table.
Okay.
Just while her table was under it. We finally find our first home, and in our home renovations, we added a new light above the same kitchen table we brought with us from St. Louis. The new light looks great and works perfectly. A couple weeks pass, and the random flickering is back. My husband took down the new light, got new wires, knew everything, but nothing would stop the random flickering. Not all day, every day, just random times and random moments. This being a new light, my husband could not let it go. He was going crazy trying to figure it out. So I said a prayer to Norma one night. Norma, I know you are always with us, but you are going to drive your grandson crazy. You got to stop. Kid you not one more flicker. Mm-hmm. We moved a couple years ago, but I have yet to find a light for over the dining room table. Someday when I do, I have a feeling Norma will say hi.
Oh, I love her ending. I love her writing.
I know.
Man, these sweet ones are so hard to do. You know, like when they're really spooky, I can just debunk all day long. But when they're so sweet, I'm like, I don't want to diss on anybody's grandma. And I got 2 grandma stories that I'm going to have to diss on because I'm going to move past that and say it was faulty wiring.
There are 3 different locations.
Well, they need to pick houses with better lighting.
Oh, no, absolutely not. 3 different locations that he changed the wiring.
I mean, I think I probably would have done a little more testing. Like I might have taken that table and moved it somewhere. Like
they did, and the flickering stopped.
I don't know. No, she didn't say that.
She did. She said once they moved that table, there was no more flickering. She did say that.
Yeah. Lights for me don't prove anything.
But then to say, please stop this. Like, this is actually freaking him out. Don't do it anymore.
What about that squatter up there that's like, oh, I better give it
the squatter
on that.
The squatter is so attached that it moved to 3 different locations.
Have you seen Teresa's houses that she decorates? I would squat in any one of her houses. They're beautiful.
One was in her in-laws' basement. So that means he's squatting in the main
where it
level.
Started, right?
No, it started in the St. Louis house.
Oh, I think it's very sweet to think that it is the grandmother. A big part of me hopes that it is the grandmother. But at the same time, like, why is she being so annoying? Like, quit being so annoying, Grandma Norma. Is that her name, Norma?
Norma. Uh-huh.
Norma, yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah, it is a cute name. But anyway, I don't know. I just still think faulty wiring is just too easy to just blame it on that. So
you're right. It is too easy to blame it on that because that's not what it is.
Well, that's my opinion. I think it was just happened to be coincidences. So I don't know. That's what I will go with. But again, super sweet to think of and hate to have to sit there and try to debunk a really sweet story like that because, again, it doesn't really matter. My skepticism doesn't matter. What really matters is that if it made you feel this warm feeling, then that was what was important. So,
yeah. When the night our grandma passed, Grandma Rosie, who we were both really close to.
Yes.
Everybody was really close to her because she was
the best.
Amazing. But I was on my way to my in-laws' house in Canada, and when we got the call that she had passed. But we were still on our way to the trip. So we went to Canada. We ended up making it shorter so we could get back in time for the funeral. But I remember, I don't like hallways at night. I mean, nobody's like, yay, a hallway.
Yeah,
they're
right.
creepy.
This is awesome. I'm going to go down this hallway. It's pitch black.
Where we stay when we're at my in-laws is like down in the very end of the house. And we have to walk down the hall to get to the bathroom. And I remember like turning the doorknob to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and just thinking, I'm going to see something on the other side of this door.
Oh.
And I knew it was going to be Grandma. Like I just had a feeling like, there's going to be something there. And it freaked me out. And I prayed, Grandma, if you're there, I don't want to see you. And I still feel so bad about it. Cause I'm like, what if she was there and wanted to get
She was not there because that woman, if she had been there, she would have scared the crap out of you just to give herself a laugh. Like, that's how she was. She was so funny. She would have been like, you don't want me to be here? Then let's make us both laugh.
Yeah, that's true. Now that medium, she talked about Grandma Rose.
She said your grandmother was on the other side of that door?
No.
And you prayed her away?
She said that as soon as I walked in, do you want to hear the story?
Yeah,
we got
of course.
that was a quick story. I can tell you this.
Of course.
So she said, when I walked into the office, she felt the presence of this like small older woman who was so joyful.
Oh, I forgot to turn the dishwasher off.
Oh my
Sorry.
goodness.
Turns out we are real people podcasting in a real house that
Yeah.
washes their dishes.
Do you want us to get better equipment and better surround sound? Sponsor us.
Sponsor us. Rate, review, and subscribe. Look, we worked it in.
Oh my goodness.
That was natural.
Are we natural?
You're so natural right there.
Yes. Okay. So she said that this like little happy woman came in with me, and that this other woman came in who was kind of scary.
Oh,
I know. I said, oh, well, my first thought for the happy one would be my Grandma Rosie. And she's like, oh, she's like pouring love on you right now. It's just constant. Like she is surrounding you. It's like you've got a halo of love. She loves you so much. And I was like, that's amazing. I said, I'm really still nervous. Can we go back to that scary woman?
Yeah, right.
You don't want to hear that from your
That's the one I
medium.
need to hear more about.
Right. And she said, well, not scary, not like a scary, in your typical way, scary as in very stern, very serious. And I was like, I have no idea who that could be. Hello, dog.
All the sounds are happening in my house right now.
I was just thinking, I have no idea who that could be because could not think of any older woman who had passed in my lifetime,
right.
who was kind of stern, who I was close to anyways.
Yeah.
Who would have any interest in following me.
Right.
So talking back about Grandma Rosie a little bit, we said, a funny little aside is that when I was going to have my second daughter, Nora, and Grandma Rosie was still alive, I said, I want to name her Rose in honor of you. And she said, well, Rose is a whore's name. She said, you have to.
And by the way, if your name is Rose and you're listening to this, we do not agree. We love our grandmother.
We love your whore's name.
But we love that name. It's like, oh, that would be so pretty. Cannot name her that.
Rose is a whore's name. You have to name her Rosemary.
Oh, brother.
I was like, no, I don't want to name her Rosemary. And she says, well, you can't name her Rose. So I did not. We went with Nora. But then when I had my third, okay, boy, this is like derailing.
No, this is great. I love it.
Okay, so when I was like the night before my ultrasound where we got to find out what we're having, boy or girl, we already had 2 girls. I laid there and I never ever was somebody who thought, oh, it's definitely a boy. It's definitely a girl. I never had a feeling. And that night laying in bed right before I fell asleep, I remember thinking, if it's a girl, I don't care. Her middle name is going to be Rose for Grandma Rosie. Grandma had passed at this point.
You're like, I'm going to get away with it. Grandma.
She can't shame me.
I'm going to really piss her off. And let's see if ghosts exist. See if she'll come and haunt me.
That's right. So it's like right before I fell asleep, I thought that if it's a girl, her middle name will be Rose. And I went to sleep knowing it was a girl. And I woke up the next morning. I told Kevin, I said, we're going to go, but we don't have to because we're having a girl. And he said, you do not know that. I said, I know. I have no doubt it's a girl, 100%. And it was. So we have Penelope Rose. So I told this to the medium. I said, I kind of want to know what she thinks of Penelope's middle name. And
Right.
she said, as soon as I brought up her name,
Uh-huh.
Grandma Rosie, or the really happy person,
Yeah.
just started cracking up. And she said, oh, I love it. I can't believe you did it. It's hilarious. So I thought that was really sweet.
That would be her reaction.
Exactly. Like, you stinker. But anyways, so that was, that made me really feel like that was Grandma Rosie.
Sure.
Even if it was like voodoo, funky, woo-woo stuff, I felt like Grandma Rosie was there. But I was still like, okay, but this scary woman. And she, every time I kept saying, I don't know, she would like move on and then come back and be like, she really wants you to know she's here. And I'm like,
oh my
I'm
gosh.
so confused.
Bossy lady.
I know we came back to her at least 3 or 4 times. And she kept saying her name was like Margaret. Mary, Margaret, something like this. And I'm like, I've never met a Margaret that I can think of it at all. And she was like, well, she had short, curly hair. I was like, nope, I don't know. She's like, I think maybe she was in a wheelchair or something was wrong with her foot. I'm like, I don't know. I want to talk about so many other things.
Right.
Why are we talking about this mean, scary woman who's following me? So at this point I was kind of like, oh, okay, sure. Well, as soon as I go home, and other things happened that were really like emotional and wonderful. And I was telling everybody about it, but I told Kevin, my husband, and said, she said this wonderful thing about Grandma Rosie and it felt so nice. And I felt like I really got to, have that connection. I said, but she said that there was this like stern looking woman who came in with me. And that's the only thing I said. I didn't describe hair or anything about her feet or the name Margaret. And he goes, well, that sounds like my grandma Marguerite.
Oh.
Who he was really close to, who we named our second child after, but I didn't ever meet her. She died like when he was a teenager. So I never met her. And so I did not even think about the connection of Margaret and Marguerite.
Right.
But how spooky is that?
That is a pretty big
But it's also very flattering that she, shut up.
I know,
it's also very flattering that she was like, well, I want her to know me too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you named your daughter after her. I'm sure that got some points for.
Right. Yeah.
For something.
Yeah.
Right?
It's nice to know that I'm in with the in-laws no matter whether they're here or not.
2 women that you named your daughters after. So they're both up there like, I win. I choose, who I wouldn't want to go against Grandma Rosie. And that, even though the other lady sounds stern.
Right.
I wouldn't go up against Grandma Rosie. She could be cutting when she needs to be.
Yeah. That's the only way I could get Nora because Kevin said it was an old lady name.
And Marguerite wasn't?
Well, no, but he was really close to his grandma Marguerite.
I'm like, whoa, he's really winning that battle.
Nora is an old lady name. And I said, Nora is a cool name, like Nora Jones.
Such a cool name. Yeah.
So I fought for that. And I said, we'll name her Nora Marguerite. And if we have another one, you can name her whatever you want.
We'll name her after a whore. Rose.
We'll name her a whore's name.
Oh, it's okay. I was kind of named after a whore, too. That's a whole other story. Remember?
Oh my gosh.
From Thornbirds.
She was a whore?
She was the harlot in the story.
I feel like we are using really un-PC. We do say sex workers.
Sex workers usually, yes. Only when Grandma Rosie calls it that, yes.
I didn't know she would.
Yeah, in Thornbirds, she was the lady who was like the mistress and kind of bad news and.
I always thought you were named after the borrowers. Those little. I never understood why. You know those like little tiny people who live in the floors. I've told my kids.
Are these like ghosts? You see ghosts? You see little people that live in the floors?
It's not a true story. It's
I've never heard of it.
Book and movie called The Borrowers, and they're like little tiny people who live like in the little mouse holes of the house. And I always thought that's what you're named after.
Was there one named Meghann?
I don't know. I never read it.
It's so weird. No, I was definitely named after the book Thornbirds. That's so funny. During doing this podcast, we learned something new about each other. You clearly believe in little people and
I do not.
I was named after the mistress in the book Thornbirds. So clearly Mom had high expectations for me.
I kind of want to read that.
I mean, I probably should.
It sounds more interesting than Little People, which is why,
it
little
sounds a lot
tiny...
more interesting. He was a priest, apparently, and she pulled him out of the priesthood.
Oh my goodness, that's so
right up Aaron's alley. Aaron's very into romance.
I do love a good dirty
especially
novel.
Sparkly vampire ones. But.
No, No, I do love those, but I love hearing a good dirty. Like sometimes I'll put like in the Libby app and just listen to it. That's really weird because you like
I would love to
flush.
watch your face while you're doing it. Like, oh my
Usually I'm just washing dishes and just sweating.
And not because the dishes are hot.
No, but I'm like, oh boy, this water is
steamy. It's getting steamy in here.
Nobody talk to me. Nobody even look at me.
Get away, children. Get away. Mommy is in her own time here. Oh, it's hilarious. Okay, you ready for my story now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, that'll probably be a perfect place for a. Oh, look, I pulled it up and then I got rid of it for a commercial. Okay, so this is our good friend Jody. I met Jody, oh my golly, years and years and years ago. We were both bar hoppers and hopped at the same bars. And so we just instantly, you cannot meet Jody and not fall in love with her. She is fun, and great at karaoke and just makes everything fun. So, yes. And then as soon as she met Aaron, the two of them clicked, and that, I mean, it's just...
Now we don't even need Meghann.
They don't even need me anymore. They still want me around, but they don't need me around.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Jody sent this in, and she's been awesome. She's been supporting us as just like Teresa has. They both have been great friends when it comes to this podcast. So, okay, so it was 1985. I can still see it like it was yesterday. My mom was driving 10-year-old me in the back seat going down a stretch of a 2-lane road. On the left was a few feet of grassy area along a tree line of a heavily wooded area. And on the right was wide open fields, again the 80s, before every acre became a building. It was broad, late afternoon daylight. Okay. I always love a good ghost story in the middle of the day. That's interesting. Up ahead on the left, facing towards us, there was a lady walking along the tree line. That lady looks like Granny, I said to my mom, never taking my eyes off of her. The shape of her body, the way she carried it, the clothes and their colors, all just like Granny. But Granny lived in a different county. She wouldn't even know this road, much less be walking down it, especially because a few months prior, Granny had died.
Oh, well, there's
your twist. There's your twist. I know. When I read this too, I was like, well, then why would she be? Maybe she's, and I'm like, then slow down. Help Granny out. Maybe she's lost. But then, yeah, I mean, if she died a few months earlier, you might be like, drive faster. This is weird. No, it's your Granny. Still, maybe slow down. Okay.
Or it's an old lady. No matter what, maybe slow down.
Maybe slow down. Yeah, ask her if she's okay. Okay.
That's how they get you.
That is, those black-eyed old people.
Oh, no.
I'm kidding, Jody. I'm not calling your grandma a black-eyed old person. Oh, Aaron's put that in my head. That's all I keep thinking about. Okay. All right.
That is how they get
That's how they'll come. I keep waiting for the knock on the door so I can teach them a lesson to not ever come back.
Can you imagine if we got a knock on the door right now?
We would record it.
We would record my pants.
Because we would not be one of those people that just put our head in the pillow and keep going. We would record this.
Yeah. I'd stay up until it was daylight again. I'd call into work tomorrow and be like, apparently I sleep during the day now.
Oh, man. If you're just now listening to this, you have no idea what black-eyed children are. Go back and listen to
Well, they do, because they're very popular now. But
I didn't know anything about it.
Either way, go back and listen. Cause
yeah, we're funnier in the last episode. I mean, maybe not. Maybe we're being funny now. I was a little sleepy. Okay. But I'm starting to wake up, drink a little wine, got Jody's story in front of me. We're doing good.
Oh, my God.
Okay. Sorry, Jody. Always tends to happen. I try so hard to read through these and not interrupt, but it's just going to happen. Okay. We kept going and she kept walking and I kept looking. As we neared closer and closer, she looked more and more just like Granny. By this time, I could see that even the curls in her gray hair were the same. Finally, she and my window were matched up for what had to be like a split second, but seemed in slow motion. It was in that slow-mo moment I saw her with each wrinkle on her exact face and that somehow darkened but still subtle twinkle in her kind eyes.
It was darkened because she's not alive anymore.
Maybe. I don't know.
Slightly dimmer.
Or maybe she just had really dark eyes. So, okay, but they still twinkled. Okay. In a flash, I turned my face to my mom. It is Granny. In the time it took me to exclaim 3 words, I flashed right back to see her again, but she was gone. Gone. Not walking along the tree line, nor towards it, not crossing the street, and the field still stood empty. There was no time for any of that to happen anyway. She was gone, just gone, vanished. No poof, no nothing, gone. I asked my mom, who hadn't said a single word yet, if she saw her too. She only said no, and remained as quiet as she had in the moments before. But I did. I knew I did. I know I did. Years later, as an adult, I brought it up to her. Come to find out, she did see her. In just the same exact manner as I did, and in the same time it took me to say those words, "It is Granny." She looked back up in her rearview mirror again, and sure enough, she was gone.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, I did just give myself chills reading that story. I did. I don't know that I believe, I just, the power of like wanting to see somebody.
Oh, man.
Wanting to see somebody. That's a strong, like a lot of, your brain can do a lot of things.
It said Jody was 10.
Yes, Jody was 10. Oh, wait, I got to read her last line. She said, "Now, Meghann, don't go calling my granny a Sasquatch." Because I was going to go there. And I was like, oh, she told me not to. I definitely will not then. Okay.
Oh, boy. Well, that is amazing. So she was 10. When her mom just said no, I was like, oh, her mom saw something. And if her mom saw someone, okay, I know that you should not stop for people on the side of the road because it's scary. But in the 80s.
Woman? Yeah, in the 80s, it wasn't scary. That's how everybody kept dying in the 80s, because everybody just kept going over to help people.
And a little old woman, I think I would stop and be like, are you okay?
I mean, maybe, but I see old women walking sometimes and they look fine.
But like in a tree line and just a field on the other side. Maybe. So the fact that it
knew seems not to stop, like she knew it was a ghost.
She knew, oh, that's Granny, or her mom or somebody. I don't know how Granny is related. But
okay, so here's my thing. And Jody, this is no offense to your mother, but she was the adult driving. If I saw Ghost Grandma Rosie, I would stop and be like, what are you doing? I would be like, I have wanted to hang out with you for so long again. No, I just think, I don't know. When it comes, I would like to put myself in that situation of a ghost, because for many reasons. A, because I don't think they exist. So I'd really like to be in that position, because
where you see a ghost,
where I see a ghost, but also how would I react? Especially if it was a ghost that was so familiar to me. Yeah. I think I wouldn't be scared of Granny. I mean, I could see how you'd be freaked out. Like, she is supposed to be dead.
I think I'd be freaked out.
I'm just going to keep on driving and pretend like we didn't see that. I guess your brain copes in different ways, but I also think the brain is just so powerful. And so there could have been like an older lady walking along the side of the road. And then she got abducted. Well, she fell down.
Oh no.
She fell fast, she fell hard, but she fell down. And she was gone, but she was like, oh good, these people were. Exactly.
I made eye contact with that little girl.
Oh my gosh. And she'll say, oh, gone. But no, or black hole, maybe black hole better, because those exist. But no, I'm just kidding. So yeah, I don't know. I think maybe there probably was somebody walking along the side of the road that resembled Grandma.
Yeah, I don't know. That's spooky enough. The fact that they both saw it. It was during the day. I think during the day I would be less afraid if I saw somebody I knew.
Yeah.
But
I promise that when I die and come back, I'll only haunt you during the day.
Oh, that's so considerate.
I mean, I'm going to do it a lot, and it's going to be pretty spooky, but it will only be during the day.
I think I'd be okay with you haunting me anytime.
Oh my gosh, that would be so fun. I would mess with you so bad. I would become a believer at that point. I'd be like, I'm going to make this shit happen.
It'd be real weird if you're still sitting there all salty as a ghost. Like, this is not real.
No, I would just be like, I can't even make anything happen. All I can do is watch. This is not cool.
You'd be like waiting for me to watch the movie Ghost so you can study that scene again.
Oh, I love that movie.
I
should believe, because I love that movie. I love ghost stories. I love it all. There's some part of me that holds back, that I'm like, it was just, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but I love that story for many reasons. I love that it was during daylight. I love that she called me out on calling her Sasquatch because she knew I was going to. And, again, I keep saying it over and over again because really these sweet stories are hard to do. They're hard to pick apart because it doesn't matter. You felt her there. You saw her there. I can't imagine being a little 10-year-old girl loving your granny that much and looking out the window and seeing her. And then years later having some mean woman try to debunk that. I think you saw her. I think whether I believe it or not, you saw her, and that feeling is great. And I'm so glad as an adult you remember that memory and you could talk about it with your mom. And what a fun story that is,
Now that you told the story, I just looked her back up on Facebook again to see that picture.
And she's so sweet.
Precious.
She is. Look, Jody, even if your mom wouldn't stop and help her, I'd stop and help her.
I would totally stop to help this sweet little old lady.
No, I'm like, I wonder how her mom's relationship was with Granny.
Oh, maybe. Now we're digging. Don't start digging.
Okay, I won't take my life. Maybe she passed her for another reason that we haven't even considered yet. Oh no, I'm sure not,
I don't know why you have friends. Why do you have so many friends?
I don't know why. I don't know. I really don't know. As soon as I said it, I was like, I shouldn't go there, but I'm going to anyway. Oh, gosh.
She's like, oh, there's that.
Yeah.
Just going to keep on driving. No, I didn't see a thing. We're driving on. No.
Oh, goodness. No, but yeah, I thought those are both really, now that I've heard Teresa's, and then that's so funny. They're both about grandmas. They're both about, that's so coincident, again.
I know. So basically, if we don't get stories, then we're going to have to dig into our own stockpile next week.
I mean, I got some good ones. And how far along are we? Because I could bring up a short little one.
Oh, we've got time. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Because I did get this message from a friend of mine, a guy that I went to high school with. It's actually his wife. And I've known her for many years now too, but he was my OG friend. And then she came along and she is. Are you laughing at my use of OG?
He was my OG friend. You are so cool. Man, you're cool.
I'm so cool. Again, I don't know why I have friends. But anyway, she is his wife and she is hilarious. Like, I think I told you this when I was talking about this, that I got this from her. She makes me laugh hard. But that's why I have friends. It's only for my pleasure because I have some pretty damn funny friends. So, so thank you for all my friends out there who keep me laughing. But anyway, she wrote me, and then this ties in to kind of one of my very first spooky stories that I've ever encountered.
Okay.
So should I go back and tell my part and then hers, or?
Yes, I think so.
So when we grew up in Goshen, Kentucky, and right down the street is Old Sligo Road. And at the very end of this road, and I'm pretty sure, I didn't know that I was going to read this tonight. It's kind of spontaneous because we're like that. We're wild and crazy. So I didn't really reach out. I meant to do a little bit more research before I did this, but we'll just go with it and we'll correct it next week when we come back like we did by bipedal. Boo.
Boo. I don't think I'll ever like a title more.
It is a pretty good title. Okay, so anyway, Old Sligo Road. You go down this road and it's like fields and like the occasional small little house. In fact, our aunt lived there for a little while. But you go all the way to the very end of this road. And if it's the same place she's talking about, it's like a mansion. It is huge and it kind of comes out of nowhere because it's just tiny little houses, this whole little drive back, but it's probably about 2 miles back, 2 or 3 miles back onto Old Sligo Road. You get to the end of it and it I think it goes like against the river, the Ohio River. So it backs up to that. But it's beautiful. It's this beautiful old Victorian mansion and it's gated and everything. Well, first of all, some kids from our neighborhood, their dad was like working on it or something, and they actually got to live there for a while. Oh, so they were like remodeling it and
haunting Hill House style.
Yes, exactly. Oh. So they got to live there, and when they moved into our neighborhood, they would tell me stories about this house, like about how the job was to take the elevator out of the house and to put in stairs. So they didn't want the elevator there anymore. But then after they took the elevator out, they could still hear the elevator going up and down and stuff like that.
Ooh.
So yeah, so pretty spooky, you know. And so I remembered always hearing about this house and being like, where is it? I want to go there to this house. And then fast forward to my high school years, I was babysitting for this little boy that I went to school with, and he was mentally handicapped. He was kind of verbal, like in between nonverbal and verbal, like you could understand some things, but not all things. And he was actually older than I was, but really I was there, you know, because he needed extra care and to make sure he and his little brother didn't get into arguments and fights and stuff. So, so anyway, I remember going back there, and I don't really know how. I think maybe I was like an assistant in his class or something. And that's how his parents reached out to me to babysit from time to time. But they were both like super wealthy psychologists.
Wow.
And, you know, with no offense to any psychologists out there, but like crazy weird art. I feel like psychologists always have weird art on their walls. But like they have like this horse like neighing in a really creepy way, you know, like when their teeth are like showing their teeth and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they had like 4 big pictures like that on the stairwell. So they were like creepy, right?
No, thank you.
Right. So I remember this little boy, his name was Alex or Peter, I can't remember, something like that.
I remember his name was Alex or Peter.
Or Alex sounded so right. And then I was like, or maybe it was Peter. But anyway, it was a long time ago. And again, this is spontaneous.
It's also
you're going to get what you get.
Not important for the story.
It's not, but I said his name. So I remember we're like walking up the stairs to like get him to bed and to get his brother to bed. And as we're walking up the stairs with these creepy horses, he stops. And mind you, we're in the same house that my friends, like when I was a child, had told me about. He stopped, and I could understand him say, "You hear her?" And I was like, "Do I hear her? Do I hear what?" And he was like, and he started making the motion of his hand going up and down like an elevator.
Ooh.
Right. And this is like 15 years after those kids had told me about this, right? Or 10 years. So anyway, but instantly I knew he was talking about an elevator, something about the motion in his hand. And we were in the stairwell where the elevator was.
Ooh.
Okay, now my adult mind is like...
Yeah, my you in me says you were already waiting for that because you knew this elevator.
A, I was already waiting for that. And B, you know, his parents could have talked many times about how this used to be an elevator shaft or, you know, whatever. But in that moment with the scary horses looking at me...
Could you hear anything?
I couldn't hear anything. I could not hear anything. But he freaked me out. And then... I like went to go watch TV. I was like, okay, just get in bed. Just hurry up. Go to bed. Everybody's just bed. Go to bed. And then I went downstairs and tried to watch TV, and the cable was out. So it was just like and this was before cell phones. I mean, there was like nothing to do. So both kids are way upstairs because it was like this big Victorian house. I mean, huge house.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting downstairs by myself in silence. So I get their house phone and I call mom, and I made her stay on the phone with me for like an hour and a half. And she's like, "Can I hang up now?" I'm like, "No, what do you want to talk about?" So, we got such a good mom. I mean, she's kind of a good mom. She's like, "This is ridiculous." And she's so also boring.
Like 2 minutes down the road, she could just come.
She could have come to me, but she was like, "No, this is so silly." But
I get it, Mom. I get it.
Right. Yes. Now I get it. Like, you are interrupting my time. But at the time I was like, this is terrifying. But anyway, so that, I know that was a big buildup. But again, we were laughing earlier. That's how we Clems do it. We like to tell stories the long way around things. So anyway, she reached out to me and just happened to say, like, "Oh, I listened to your podcast. We're really enjoying it." I was like, "Oh,
thank you.
And
thank you so much."
Like, she and her husband are two of the coolest people I know. So I'm like, "Oh, that's really cool."
What are their names?
Her name is
last name.
Amanda, and his name. I'm so glad you did. I was like, totally. I mean, I called her a really cool person. If somebody called me a really cool person, I'm like, throw my last name in there. There's lots of Amandas out there. Amanda and Austin. Austin from Oldham County.
Oh, well, okay. What's their address?
I love doing that. Whatever. It's because I love a good shout out. I mean, if you ever shout me out, you can give it all. I don't care. So she reached out to me and said she listened to the podcast, and hers comes with a picture. And let me tell you, it's a good picture. And I'm going to ask permission now that I've said it. I'm sure she can't. She'll be fine with me using it, but I'll definitely give her credit for it.
Listen, really quick. We just paused this, and now I need more wine. So I should have poured the wine while we were paused.
Listen to that sound. Listen to that. Doesn't that make you want to pour a beverage, even if it is just water.
This
Get
reminds
yourself a
us.
drink.
Hi, Aunt Marcia. She said she was gonna.
Yes, hi Aunt Marcia.
She said she would-
drinks wine with us
That's
whenever
right.
she listens to podcasts. I love that. Yes, and anybody else out there?
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. Oh, we should
Oh.
actually cheers.
Oh, that was horrible. Hold on. Oh, you got a stemless.
I know.
It doesn't
Well,
make
and it's
the
a
pretty
thick
clink.
glass. That's okay.
All right.
Okay, so all right, so here it is. So she has, I'm just saying, like hers has a visual, and the visual did for a second until I really looked at it and then tried to debunk it.
There are some times where you can just say it's creepy.
Oh, it is. That's true. No, yeah, without even trying to go there. But
Right.
I feel like that's the name of the podcast, so I have to go to that. But you're right. No, it was creepy. I was like, ooh, what is this? Okay, so that should entice you to go to Instagram.
Yeah.
Because hopefully she'll give us permission and we'll post this picture. And
It'd be so sad if not. It's just a teaser.
I know, right? Like, I'll just draw a picture of a ghost in a window. Like, this is what it kind of looked like. Okay. So she said, "Hey, Meghann, I'm digging the podcast. Austin and I think, definitely have, she did not give me permission to say any of this. So she's cool though. She will. Okay. Hey, Meghann, I'm digging the podcast. Austin and I think you should do a deep dive into this fellow. We think he's the ancestor of Mitch McConnell. You can almost see."
Oh no! Yikes!
She says you can almost see his egg tooth, which she's talking about like that. Sorry if you're a Mitch McConnell fan.
No, explain that more. The egg
Like,
tooth.
I think what she's talking about is that like the big part underneath his.
Oh gosh, like underneath his chin.
Yes.
Oh
yeah,
is that
like
called
that.
an egg tooth?
I don't know. That's the only thing I could think of because this guy kind of has it too, like that slope that goes down. But yeah, egg tooth. Either way, that cracked me up. Egg tooth. She said he turned up in some pictures Harper, that's her daughter, took after I told her that ghosts hang out in round windows. And then I put like a bunch of laughing emojis. Egg tooth. That's hilarious. So glad you're listening. Whatever. Would love to hear the story. So then she wrote in, and of course I put your real ghost story in parentheses with like a rolling your eyes emoji. So she put, it's a real ghost. Our friends just bought the old Ashbourne Inn at Old Sligo in 42. He haunts it. So this is what I'm thinking is the mansion that I've heard about my entire life. We went to check it out and it was creepy. So I thought it appropriate to educate Harps, that's what she calls her daughter, on poltergeist, which I think that's hilarious. She's like, let me tell you all about poltergeist. I've tried to find information on the house and its owners, but have only been able to dig up old menus from the restaurant so far. It was used by the Browns, and I'm guessing like
Brown Foreman,
yeah.
Wow.
It was used by the Browns as a residence for their farm manager back in the 1940s. I believe, and then transitioned into a farm-to-table restaurant, then a bed and breakfast. I think it looks like the guy in the middle. So she puts two pictures. She actually takes an actual snapshot of like a picture she researched of this guy named George Garvin Brown, the second. And so she thinks it's him in the window.
Creepy.
The brother of the farm's owner. I found the picture on Ashbourne Farm's website taken in 1945. I was joking about ghosts with Harps, telling her about the Amityville horror and stuff. I gave her my phone to take pictures just to keep her occupied. I would consider myself a skeptical believer. I like that, a skeptical believer.
Okay.
So maybe I'm going to start leaning there.
There you go. And then you can still be my skeptical sister.
Right.
Because you're my skeptical believer.
But there are
sister.
sometimes I'm like, like the granny stories and things like that I'm like, oh, I want to believe in that so bad.
You believed in Tiffany's last week, the premonitions.
Yeah, I do believe in the premonition one. I would consider myself a skeptical believer. So I was pretty freaked out when I saw the picture. So just to recap, she and her daughter out there surveying this land that her friends had just bought. She gives her I think her daughter's like 10 maybe, this phone, and she starts just snapping pictures. And one of the pictures that her own daughter took, it definitely, I'm going to show it to you right now.
Gimme.
It definitely looks like a ghost. Okay. But when I look at it, I'm like, I would love to have seen it in person and then see the photo.
Yeah.
Because it could also be some spider webs.
Yeah. Okay, now what it looks like to me, and tell me if you're seeing it the same way. It's like an ultrasound picture. You're never really sure.
Right.
Like he's looking kind of, his head's turned.
Mm-hmm.
So I can only
Almost
see
tilted
one
it
eye.
up, and you can see his egg tooth if that's what
Yeah,
I think it is.
He looks very disapproving. Like his
Yes.
mouth looks like he's scowling. Like, what are you doing?
Yes,
Get off
definitely.
my lawn.
Yes, like he's a grumpy old man. He does not want you there.
Yeah, that is creepy.
They took out my elevator, for gosh sakes.
I gotta walk up these damn
steps, and they got horses. I'm sure they took the horses away at that point. They were creepy. Creepy AF.
Okay, I'm gonna look. Show me the picture that it looks like.
Okay, so then she says it looks like she took a picture of these three guys sitting around from that era, that time, and the one in the middle is the guy who apparently lived there. And she thinks it looks like him, which I can definitely see that slope in the chin.
Yeah, and that kind of sharp nose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the other side of his face. I wish he would turn because it's the other side of the face that we see, but that is really spooky.
And so if you have any information about that place, because I mean, I do think it was kind of well known at a certain time.
Yeah.
And I'm also like really curious to find out what her friends are going to do with it because it is huge. I mean, it's enormous. So
I really want to know.
I'm like, are they turning it into a bed and breakfast again, or what are they going to do with it? If it's the same place, if it's the same place, I could come back again in a couple weeks and be like, totally different place, but it was Old Sligo Road and 42, and it was
not a lot of places on Sligo Road.
There's not. I mean, it's a tiny little road with lots like tiny little houses, except for that one enormous place. So I can't imagine it being something else, but yeah, pretty spooky.
Yeah, that is really, really spooky. I love a ghost picture.
I know. Yeah, ghost pictures are fun. I mean, I can debunk the heck out of them, but they're fun to.
Sometimes when I can't sleep, I'll Google ghost photos.
Because that'll just lull you right to bed.
It's the worst plan. It's so scary. I freak myself out so bad, but I love them. They're so spooky.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're so spooky.
Yeah, there's some really good photoshopped.
Okay.
Spooky ones. I mean, you can't I do trust Amanda because
I could see maybe cobweb,
like the wisping or like dirt, like some streaks.
There's that thing that our brains want to see faces, and so we make faces out of things. And I get that because I see faces all the time. Like I'll look at my shower curtain and be like, that totally looks like a
my
face.
curtain. The ones we took out because you said they were so ugly.
No, she used to have these they were kind of weird. They were like Hawaiian flower.
They were not Hawaiian. They were like paisley kind of.
They looked like a Hawaiian shirt.
Whatever. My husband thought they looked like a Hawaiian shirt, and then she agreed, and that was the end of it. I had to get rid of the curtains.
But very soon after her having those, I swear I saw Edgar Allan Poe, and I could never unsee it.
Now, that to me was the most specific face sighting in curtains I've ever heard of.
I know I took a picture. I'll have to find it. It looked just like Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, if you took a picture of it, you'll definitely have to put it on Instagram.
But I don't know. I mean, you can definitely see if you want to believe it, you can definitely see a spooky face there. And I am more apt to believe it.
I will know that I got real creeped out when I was in that house. Of course, I was also like 15 or 16 when it happened. And, I mean, any big house and you're there with two small children or two children and you're putting them to bed and then you're the responsible one. I mean, I get creeped out here just thinking about like how much responsibility I have.
Yeah. And anything with a lot of history.
Yes.
It will spook me.
Yeah. Because your mind just kind of travels into that direction.
And I've never been in a church that I'm not a little scared of.
Churches are very creepy to me.
Churches are so creepy.
Yeah, they can be.
Not when they're surrounded by people.
But when they're so quiet. When you go in there and it's just too quiet.
Yeah. We grew up like in a little teeny tiny old church. Yeah. And we were there, golly,
all the time. Yeah.
Man, our kids have it easy. We're like sleeping. We only get 2 days on the weekend.
Virtual church. We'll make them start going to virtual church. Maybe.
Will we?
At Dad's request, maybe.
If Dad is listening, we will.
We will. We cannot lie about that. Now, if he listens, we have to. Shit. But only if he listens.
He won't.
If he listens, we're totally going to make them. Let us know, Dad.
What does it count if we just sign in on a computer somewhere in the house?
Oh my gosh! Quit.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Make us burn.
Oh, sorry.
Well, according to Dad.
But we used to be there every Sunday morning, like all day Sunday, and then every Wednesday night and back again Sunday night. It was like we were there a lot.
A lot.
And it was the oldest little building.
Yeah.
And I remember going up into that, like into the sanctuary and just feeling so scared if I was there by myself.
It's funny, your memories are being scared. I remember eating all of the leftover communion bread.
Oh, no, I remember that because we got the best bread and Welch's grape juice.
Welch's grape, those little bitty cups.
Yeah, if you're Methodist,
bread, oh my gosh.
If you're Methodist, you don't get real wine.
Give me a communion Sunday morning where I can sneak and just finish off everybody's leftovers.
I
so
cannot drink Welch's grape juice without feeling like I need to pray.
Oh, always. Like, I don't even buy it. But when I drink it, I'm like, I need to add a little tiny cup. And then
is there bread?
Perfect.
Where's the bread? Like the fresh.
That really soft bread. They should not have gotten bread that good. I feel like,
I remember grabbing, you had to pinch off your own bread. And I do say pinch.
And it was like, but I was like a handful.
I remember being little and being like, and mom being like, put that back.
Take a pinch.
Oh my gosh. You want me to put this back?
My germs are on it, Mom.
Oh my gosh. Can I tell you a communion story about Teresa since we already brought
it
up? I will have to check with Teresa because she might not be cool with me.
Okay. Yeah, tell me.
Okay. So Teresa is Catholic and I went to church with her one Sunday. Oh, this is awful, especially in the age of COVID.
Oh,
it wasn't in the age of COVID, but thinking now,
how long ago was this?
Oh boy. So she went up to communion, and you don't get to take communion if you're not Catholic when you're in a Catholic church. So
right.
I stayed back, and she came back, and her face was bright red.
I remember this story.
It was like, what is the matter? And she was like, oh my gosh, I was chewing gum.
Oh my gosh, that is awful.
When she took a drink of the wine, it slipped out of her mouth and into the wine.
Oh my
glass.
gosh.
Oh, that's so gross.
What do? You just sit down and don't say, did somebody else? I mean, because I didn't even think about that yet, like it hitting somebody else or going to somebody else's mouth. I just kind of thought, ooh, that's disgusting. They're all drinking their germs. But it wasn't until this moment that I thought, oh my gosh, the next person could have been like,
what is that? Let me just tell you that if that had been me, I would not have been cool. I would have been like, what is that? And I would have flipped out.
Okay.
Maybe they were like, mine is extra blessed.
So here,
mine came with a token from God.
Mine is extra blessed. Oh my gosh. She better let us get this. Oh no, that's so awful.
That's so
okay,
gross.
But it kind of brings up, oh my gosh, I'm sweating. It kind of brings up that like moral question of, okay, my thoughts. Okay, that moral question of like, should she have just said like grabbed the?
You need to stop.
Grabbed the cup and been like, my gum is in there. Which would have been so embarrassing and self-sacrificing. Oh my gosh. But she didn't. That's my favorite part. She just went and sat down and then told you. I don't know that I would have told you. I'd have been like, this is going to the grave. To the grave with this one.
Oh my gosh, my sides hurt.
Oh my gosh.
I really hope she lets us tell this.
I do too.
It's so good.
You know what? Even if she doesn't, I don't care because that was a great laugh. Oh my gosh. Oh, Teresa, bless your heart. Like that would be so embarrassing.
Yeah. So bad.
I would have done the same thing. I would have been like, just move on.
Just be cool.
I just would not have told you. I would have not told anybody that it happened. Oh my gosh. But like that is a good like that. I feel like they should ask that question in like job interviews to see how moral you are. Would you go and just sit down? Or would you stop the service? Because could you imagine as the priest?
You can re-bless everything. Like that's blessed wine, isn't it?
I guess.
I don't know how that works.
I don't know how it works. I'm not Catholic. I'm not allowed to drink it. I don't know.
I know.
Oh my gosh. That is so daggone funny. And you know what's hilarious? It ain't the first time.
Oh. Hilarious. So gross.
Oh, so gross.
How
about little bitty cups? Just everybody gets their own little bitty cup.
Us Methodists, we're like, we want you to be saved, but like healthy.
Yes, a healthy saved. With your own little cup of juice. I mean, I'm down for the wine. They should definitely.
Well, I am now, but as a little chubby kid, when I was, man, Welch's grape juice was the bomb.
But as a little troublemaker, I'd have been like, let's go find that wine. That's right. And some bread to soak it up in. Oh, man, that is a hilarious story. I really hope she lets us keep that in there. We will not say the parish.
No.
So you're safe, and I'm pretty sure none of the people there are going to be listening to this. Tracy, you're safe. You're good.
I do know for a fact that she went to church with friends of some other Facebook friends. The name of the parish. We just said we were going to say No. But there are some Facebook friends who went to her church.
Oh my gosh! What if?
But I definitely saw your family go first. I did not. That's a lie. I don't remember that at all. I don't.
What if they like write in? I was the one that choked on that gum. Or what if like you just didn't even notice it? You sit down, you're like, when did I start chewing gum? That's weird. It just keeps getting funnier. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
Oh, it's so gross.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, I don't know if it was that last glass of wine or what, but
oh, man.
I'm awake now. I feel like we need to do a second episode or another episode. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, boy.
Okay, well, I don't know where to go from there.
Yeah, I think it's time to wrap it up.
How about you do this? How about, this is good advice. Anytime you're going to take communion or drink communally out of anything, take your gum out first.
Yeah.
That's a good tip.
Or, you know
probably
what?
A lesson learned. She had to learn it the hard way.
Don't do that anymore.
Yes. No more communal drinking.
They make little tiny cups. Not great for the environment.
No, they could work on that somehow.
Yeah, sure.
Little recycled little cups.
You got God on your side. I'm sure you got some kind of plan.
That's right. You can figure it out. They can figure that out. But yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
Great stories tonight. Funny. We like hit the gamut there. Sweet stories, spooky. We went back to like sweet, then spooky, then hilarious at the end. I mean, I feel like I was a little worried at the beginning of this, but I feel like
I was a little worried when I walked into your house and you had fallen asleep.
I definitely fell asleep right before you. I'm just so tired all the time. This daggone pandemic driving me crazy, but that's okay. Like it's always done. It did its job. It got me up out of my slump and made me laugh a lot, and hopefully it made other people laugh a lot. I know it made you laugh a lot, so we're good on that.
That's all that really matters. The both of us are laughing.
So again, if you want this to continue, though, like we do, really, even if you don't want it to continue, but you love us because you know us, then help us out here and just get us some ghost stories
or also like, rate, review.
Yeah, that'll put us out there. If you just rate. Like it?
Yeah, okay, so if you're on Apple Podcasts, you can subscribe and you can like it, like give it 5 stars and review it. Because I know a lot of people have been like, well, I can't review it on Spotify because I think you have to be like a premium member or something. Right. So on Apple Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, you can definitely rate it and review it. Spotify, you can make it your favorite. Yeah, so that it pops up. But you can also, if you're really feeling generous, you can share it on your own page out to other people. Or just tell your friends. Just tell people. Please listen to this. A lot of
people are looking for podcasts right now. I know I always like to hear about a funny, especially right now, something that can make me laugh. And I'm assuming that we're funny. I just laughed. That was hilarious, that last story. If you didn't laugh at that story, you're definitely not in the right spot because that show was funny. Gosh,
I really want her to let us tell it. Yes. We might just have to bleep out the name. Maybe it's a friend you've never heard of.
Maybe you didn't even hear her on this podcast earlier. Like you didn't hear her. Yeah, we'll definitely have to ask her. But that was great. So again, we'd love to keep doing this. Send us your stories, share with your friends, and have a good night.
Yeah, thanks guys. Bye.